Thank you very much for joining me today. Well, I've just come out my wife's beautiful Triumph 900 Street Scrambler as I fitted a beautiful set of what they call dresser bars. I call them crash bars, but they call them dresser bars. And I'm just giving it a shakedown just to make sure everything's as tight as it should be. But I gotta say, I do love this bike. It's absolutely amazing to ride. The dresser bars themselves, they really have made a difference in the aesthetics, how it looks. So I think she'll be absolutely over the moon with how her bike looks now. I better get it back to her.
A beautiful day it is. So today I am out on the mighty Triumph Street Scrambler 900, and I've got to say, what a bike this is. This actual model and this bike belongs to my good lady, my wife, and ironically, as a development test rider, she was one of the test riders, did more miles on this model than anybody else, and then she owns one. She absolutely loves it. So 2019 was a good year for the Scrambler, as Triumph took a lot of what we said as test riders in 2013-14, which then became the 2017 model. They took our feedback and that rolled on into the next incarnation of the Street Scrambler 900 for the 2019 model. And they changed a couple of key things that as test riders we said could be better. And one of those things was the brakes. The 2017-18 model, it wasn't bad, but it just felt under braked for the amount of torque that this bike kicks out. And the 2019 model does kick out 80 newton meters of torque at 3,200 RPM. And for a 900cc bike, that's a lot of torque, and at that sweet spot you can really get it to, you know, find its legs and hoon its way along. What do you need to go with that? Well, you need stopping power. So in 2019 they upgraded the front brake on the Street Scrambler to a Brembo, and you know what, it really did make all the difference when it came to stopping this bike. The other thing they did was they gave it an extra 10 HP, an extra 10 horsepower. So it went from 55 to 65, and just that difference made a big difference in the power delivery through the throttle. And with a few tweaks to the throttle as well, it just made the delivery a lot more sublime, a lot more smoother. And hence we have the 2019 Scrambler, which is, for me, it is a beautiful bike. It's a beautiful bike to ride, it's a beautiful bike to own, and it's definitely a beautiful bike to look at. And I think for me, aesthetically, that's a big thing with these modern classics, is the look. And if you can get a bike to ride as well as it looks, you're on to a winner. And this bike definitely ticks all those boxes. Just the feel, the ergonomics, everything about this bike is just beautiful. And yeah, it's my wife owns one. I'm 6 foot, and ergonomically this bike fits me really well, but it's the same for my wife. She's 5 foot nothing, and ergonomically it fits her well as well. Ergonomically it fits her too. And I think that's the thing about this bike, is it's just so comfortable no matter your size for anybody to ride. As for the cockpit for the rider, yeah, I absolutely love it. The mirrors for a twin are sublime, they really are. There's very, very minimal vibration at any revs through these mirrors. They give very good visual awareness, they give you a good view of the road behind, and for me they were a win from the off. And they're good to look at as well, they're not a bad looking mirror. When we come down to the handlebars and the handlebar layout, I think that works really well. I love the switch gear, I love the fact that it's quite minimalistic. It's not too fussy, it's not too much to worry about. You've got an information button, a mode button, indicators and horn, and that's pretty much it for this side. On the right hand side, all you got to worry about is your throttle, because you've got your kill switch, your start button and your hazard lights. And I think for me that's just perfect. That's, you know, that's enough for any motorcycle. So we come to the tacho, the speedometer. Do you know what? I absolutely love it for the same reason. Aesthetically, It's really pleasing. I love the fact that it's got that analog speedometer. I just love the look of it. I also love the fact that there is a little bit of technology there. You know, you've got the digital display that gives you what gear you're in, your fuel gauge. You've also got miles per gallon, which is all accessible through this information button. You can go miles per gallon and pretty much find all the relevant information you need. But I also like the fact that if you want it, you've got a digital rev counter. Personally, I like my wrist to be the rev counter. I know when the bike wants me to change. You know, I know I'm getting to that sweet spot before it starts to redline in that gear. But if you want it, you have got it. And then obviously you've got your right indicator, left indicator, your main beam, your flasher, and then your neutral light. And that's, for me, that is just perfect. That's all I need on a motorcycle. You know, I don't need TFT screens and everything else that goes with it. But each to their own. If that's what you love and that's what you like, then you enjoy your TFT screen. It's a parallel twin in a steel tube frame. It's got a 19-inch front, 17-inch rear. It's running a Brembo caliper on the front and a Nissan on the back. Love the exhaust on this bike. You do get a bit of heat exchange on a nice day, and that's something to be aware of when looking at the Scrambler. You know, my 1200 is just the same, but it's not for me overkill. I can live with that even on the hottest days. Like I say, I've ridden this bike to Spain and I never really found it a problem. Probably because I'm always covering the rear brake with my right foot whenever I stop. But if you put your leg down, you will feel that heat through a good thick pair of jeans. Even a set of levers on a good day, you will feel that heat. I will pull up though, and we will go through all the specs for this bike and have a good look round it. Like I say, this is a 2019 model. It's nearly 7,000 miles on the clock. But you know what? The one thing I love about this bike is the way it rides. Oh my god. It's just so rideable, no matter how experienced or inexperienced you are, this bike will look after you. It tracks the corner beautifully, it accelerates smoothly, it's just sublime to ride, it really is. And it's good to look at. The rideability of this bike is absolutely spot on. With the 19-inch front and the 17-inch back wheel, really does make this bike manoeuvre seamlessly. It really does. You know, it just flicks from left to right. It's so controllable. Whether it be scratching down the back lanes, you know, it'll even cruise on a motorway. You can tour on this bike. You can do anything on this bike. That's what I love about it. You know, and it really comes to life in a city environment. It really does. You know, which probably stems from the name Street Scrambler, because it will hoot round a city town environment, cut through traffic. It is just sublime. Handles so well. It tracks corners well. Just love this bike.
And here we have it, the beautiful 2019 Triumph Street Scrambler. And I got to say, I do love this bike, and it holds a lot of memories from the time we started developing them to the time that they went on sale. The Triumph Scrambler's roots come from the iconic TR60 trophy from the 1960s, which were made famous by Steve McQueen. The Street Scrambler was then introduced in 2017 based on the Street Twin platform and received a significant update in 2019. And the update really was the things that we found as test riders. So the 2019 updates that this model got were pretty much an extra 10 horsepower, taking it from 55 to 65 HP. And you can feel that difference in the throttle in that mid-range. It had a revised throttle mapping for smoother response. The 2017-2018 model, It wasn't by any means a bad bike, and it wasn't a snatchy throttle, but with that extra 10 horsepower, it really has smoothed that throttle out now. It also gets an off-road mode, which it never had for the previous model, and you can only pretty much get this while the bike's in neutral and ticking over, and it disables the ABS and traction control, which for gravel tracking and light off-roading, it really does make a difference just to be able to turn those off. So the 900 specs, well, it's got a 900cc liquid cooled 8-valve parallel twin, and you know what, I absolutely love this engine. It just absolutely suits the chassis and the ergonomics of this bike. Power output is 65 horsepower at 7,400 RPM. The torque for this model is 80 Newton meters, and you find this around the 3,200 RPM, which is, again, it's that sweet spot just where you want it, just as you throttle on, that's where you get all that torque. The beautiful high-mounted brushed stainless steel twin pipes, even as stock, I think they make a really good sound. They kick out a really good tone. The frame on this bike is a tubular steel. Front suspension is a 41mm KYB forks. They've got about 120 millimeters of travel. Rear suspension is a twin KYB shocks with adjustable preload, same with about 120mm travel. Front brake is one of the upgrades that this bike got. It's now a Brembo 4-piston with a 310mm disc, and I got to say that extra stopping power really does make a difference between the 2018 model and the 2019 model. The rear brake is a 2-piston caliper, a Nissan, on a 255mm disc. ABS is now switchable, but you can also turn that off in the off-road mode, which takes off your ABS and your traction control. Front wheel is a beautiful 19-inch wire spoke wheel, and the rear is a 17-inch, and I think this tyre, this wheel configuration really does complement the ergonomics of this bike, especially the way it tracks a corner. Seat height of this bike, for me, is really good. I mean, I'm 6 foot, comes in at 790mm, about 31.1 inches. Wet weight, 223 kg, 492 pounds. Fuel capacity is 12 litres, so it's not the biggest tank out there, but you know what, for me, that's plenty. So the electronics and the features of this bike, it's got rider mode, so it's got rain, off-road and road. I'd pretty much leave it in road. I think I would only ever put it in rain if it was icy. Depends on your confidence and your skill set, but I find road is so easy to use that I pretty much leave it in road. The throttle is so linear, it's so forgiving, it's so just usable for no matter how your riding experience is or how much riding experience you've got. The throttle is just sublime, it really is. So here we have it, 2019 Street Scrambler. And do you know what, for me, I think it still remains one of Triumph's most versatile modern classics. It's comfortable, it's easy to ride, and it's perfect for the urban commute, while still being capable of a little bit off-roading. You know, a little bit of green laning, a little bit of gravel tracking. I just think it is a fun bike that is usable for all riders, no matter your skill set. You know, whether you're a new rider, whether you're a seasoned rider, you will just find this bike to be fun, exhilarating, and it's just a pleasure to own.
And as you can see, it's just as much at home in a town or city environment. Everything just feels so poised and relaxed, and you know, nothing is an issue for the Scrambler. And as for ownership, it's been a pleasure to own. It'll take on any environment you want. This bike really does dominate the roads that you ride it on with ease. Absolutely beautiful. Like I say, this is my wife's favourite, and it's the reason she owns it. Do you know, it's a bike that I would own without doubt, and I think they hold the money really well. We paid $6,500 for this one nearly 2 years ago, and do you know what, they're still floating around that £6,000 mark. So I don't think you'll ever lose money on a second-hand Triumph of about this age with this amount of miles on, that's for sure. And this bike's been ridden in all weathers, snow, rain and sunshine. It's seen it all, it really has. You know, like anything, as long as you wash, maintain and clean it, it definitely gets a good coating of AC50. Well, I'm going to head home now, and I'm gonna watch my wife's bike, polish it and put it back in the garage and hope that she doesn't realise I stole it. Ooh, love that noise. Obviously when she watches the video she will. But you know, I'll ask for forgiveness at that point. As ever, thank you very much for watching. Give us a like, give us a big thumbs up, help me to grow. Share this video, share any of the other videos, hit that subscribe button and follow me on this journey as we build a community. And hopefully the bigger I get, the more opportunities I'll have to ride other bikes and other makes. As ever, stay safe out there, stay safe.